Hello and welcome back to SSBCrack Exams. I'm Anuradha, and in this particular session, I am back once more with very important tips to crack AFSB interviews, that is Air Force Selection Board interviews for freshers as well as for repeaters. As you all know that the AFCAT 2 2022 exam is now over. It took place on 26th, 27th and 28th of August 2022. Now it's high time that you start your preparation for your upcoming AFCAT exam related SSBs, that is Air Force Selection Board or AFSB interviews. So what are the different tips that you need to use? Now these tips will be helpful for both repeaters and freshers. That will be really helpful for you to crack the AFSB. So let's find out, and we will start with some tips that I want to provide for freshers to crack the AFSB interview. So first of all, for freshers, make sure that your SDT, that is self-description test, from the psychological test and your PIQ form line up with the answers you give in the personal interview. Sometimes it is not known for sure, but however it is guessed or assumed that the interviewing officer checks both your SDT answers as well as your PIQ form, whatever you have filled in that form, and likewise will try to see if you are self-contradicting or not by asking you questions regarding that. So if your answer is not matching with the PIQ form or with the SDT answers, then there's high chance that you won't be selected, because then it will seem that you are self-contradictory. So make sure that your answers are matching with whatever answers you have given in the SDT test as well as in your PIQ form. Also, when something is required of you, be honest about it. Don't hide anything. So make sure that whatever questions the interviewing officer will ask you in the personal interview, you are answering it honestly and truthfully. If you think that you will be able to fool the interviewing officer, it will not be possible, because he or she will catch you with the next set of questions that you won't be able to recognize as well. So make sure whatever answers you're giving, you are truthful, you are honest. If you don't know anything, you say that you don't know. If you do not have any idea about it, or you have not done one particular activity, you say that. Okay, nothing will or no one will judge you according to your answer, but you have to be honest at every step of your personal interview. Tell them about any weakness you may have and how you plan to overcome them. So sometimes they will ask you questions about your weaknesses. Now, this is not only sufficient to tell the interviewing officer about your weakness, but you should also tell the interviewing officer what are the things that you are doing to overcome the weakness. The weakness should be there in all human beings. That is what makes us humans. But we should also work to improve it, and that is what the interviewing officer will want to know. That is whether you are working on it or not, and whether you have succeeded in it or not. Okay, next thing to consider is the personal interview to be a formal discourse. Make sure that when you are answering questions or whenever you are sitting in the personal interview, you are taking it as a formal way, not in an informal way. Do not think that the interviewing officer is a family member or a friend of yours. So never try to behave in such a way that will be informal or impolite for the interviewing officer. When questioned about friends or parents, refrain from criticizing them. If you start criticizing your parents or friends for whatever reason, then the interviewing officer will take your character or your personality to be something else. So just refrain. Do not compare anyone with anyone, and do not criticize about anything or anyone else, be it your friend or your parents or your teacher or whoever it is. Be direct and specific to the personal interview. Now, we have come across different candidates. What they do is that when questions are asked of them in personal interview, they try to beat about the bush. They do not want to answer the question directly. They say a lot of things before coming to the point. Now, this is the major, error that a student will ever make in personal interview. What the interviewing officer wants is to the point answers, not long lectures. So, whenever you are answering any question of any interviewing officer, try to be to the point and answer it directly. Do not give a long lecture or a very big or a long introduction or beat about the bush. Keep an open mind and be diplomatic. Now, there will be some questions where you have to be diplomatic. In those questions, you have to be diplomatic. There is no other way. Okay. Please use that diplomacy of yours and be open-minded also whenever you are taking any question or answering it. If you're narrow-minded or you're restricted, then that will be a negative point for you. Now, as the tips for the freshers are over, I now want to give some tips for the repeaters as well to how to crack an AFSB interview. So for the repeaters, one thing should be kept in consideration is your past mistakes. Learn from them. Reflect on your errors and make appropriate measures in order to prevent repeating them. And for this reason, self-introspection or self-reflection is very important, specifically for repeaters. Now, you must have already appeared in the AFSB interview before. you are screened out or you're conferenced out, so you already know the AFSB interview, what are the different steps, what kind of questions are asked and all. So just after, even if you have failed, just in your at your own place, at the comfort of your own home, what you need to do is self introspect or self reflect that what were the mistakes you have done, improve and work on them, and do not try to repeat the same mistakes in your next SSB or AFSB interview. Make an attempt to better yourself. Try to keep your attention on current events by reading English newspapers every day. You can also watch English, videos related to current affairs. So that will also help you in your communication skills and also in your current affairs, or in your knowledge of your awareness or the understanding of your surroundings. Gain insight by reading editorials and form your own judgment, because opinions matter a lot whenever you are giving any news about any particular social event or any political event that has happened already. So either you can be asked about your opinions, so make sure that you're reading the editorial part of the newspapers so that you can form your own judgments as well from there. Also, keep your spirits high. A day before the SSB or while traveling, watch some inspirational films or television shows or some defense action films. So do not think that, okay, I have failed before, I will also fail now, or what will happen if I fail now. So do not think like that. Always keep your spirits high, keep yourself motivated. You can listen to good, motivational songs. You can do a lot of exercises. You can watch good television shows or some defense action movies, or you can also listen to some good podcasts which are motivational, which will help you to keep your spirits high. Enjoy the SSB process. This is very, very important for both repeaters as well as for freshers. Do not think about what kind of performance you have done before or what will be the result of this particular AFSB or SSB. Try to stay as composed and cool as you can during the entire procedure of the AFSB. When you are given a new task or test, don't worry about the one you just finished. Just do your task and enjoy it. So this is the certain tips that you need to apply if you want to get recommended in your AFSB interview. Now, those of you who want to prepare for the AFSBs in a much more solid and effective manner, we are providing an SSB interview online course, which is the best online course for the SSB interview preparation in the entire market. So you can get a hold of this course by downloading our SSBCrackExams learning app from the Google Play Store. Once you have downloaded this app, you can check this SSB interview online course, and here you will find all the testing procedures of SSB covered in full-fledged details, along with good video lectures, practice sets, and as well as PDF study materials. Not only that, we also take SSB interview live classes every day, and we have new monthly batches every month. So for the September month, we are starting with a new live class batch from 6th of September onwards. So make sure that if you want to prepare for your upcoming AFSB interview, you are joining this course as soon as possible and starting your live classes from 6th September 2022 onwards. So make sure you are downloading our app and getting yourself enrolled into this course and preparing for your AFSB interview. Now, there are certain important questions which are asked in AFSB interviews. I want to discuss these questions with you also, so you'll get an insight specifically for freshers. You'll get an insight about what kind of questions can be asked in your AFSB personal interview. So the questions can be: tell me about yourself. What does your name mean? So this can revolve around your name, who gave you your name, how you can relate to your name, what qualities you think you have according to your name, and so on. Why the Indian Air Force and not other force in your option you have chosen? So they can ask you that why you have come for the Air Force, why you have not gone for Army or Navy. So here you don't have to compare between Army, Navy and Air Force. You can just give your reasons why you want Air Force or why you have chosen Air Force. Okay. Tell me about the Indian Air Force's organizational structure and most recent additions to our fleet of helicopters, aircraft, and technology. So it is very important that you know what are the fighter jets that have been added recently, what are the new defense deals, what are the new weapons or drones that are added, and so on. Because these questions will obviously be asked to know whether you are aware about what is happening in the Indian Air Force, which you are so keen to join. Okay. The next questions can be: tell me about your favorite subjects and teachers, any sports and extracurricular activities you participated in, competitive tests you took, and the results of those exams. So in short, you will be asked about whatever achievements you have achieved in your life, whatever you have done, be it in your sports, extracurricular, any kind of internships that you have done. Now, what are your favorite subjects? Who are your favorite professors or teachers? What are the competitive tests you have taken? In fact, they can also ask you about your hobbies. If you have been a part of NCC, then they can also ask you about your NCC. Everything will be asked to you, and including your family as well. So they can ask you about your family members and what kind of rapport you have with your family members. Then they can also ask you about your strengths and weaknesses, also your family members' strengths and weaknesses. So all these you have to be really prepared about. Who are your closest pals? What do you like and dislike about them, and who are they? So they can also ask you regarding your friends. So make sure you know about your friends as well. Have you enrolled in a coaching program? What alterations do you notice in yourself now? So here they can ask you if you have been into any online or offline coaching. Now if you have, there is no bad thing to say that you have. Okay, nobody will judge you. As I said, you have to be just true to yourself. So if you have joined any coaching, and if you have joined our courses as well, then you can obviously say it in a very, very positive way. Along with that, you're able to explain what are the improvements you have seen in yourself after joining the coaching. Okay. Next is, who among you and your siblings do you think is better? Tell me about your family. So here there will be a comparison, and you can select any one of you two, and you have to also tell your family. As I said, family based questions will also be asked. What are your plans for the future if you're not chosen for the AFSB? So make sure that you're having a plan B. If you're not chosen, if AFSB, don't say my life has ended or anything. You have to give your plan B and tell your plan B to the interviewing officer. Okay, it's a very positive thing if you just tell them that you have a backup plan as well. What spurs you on? How can you bounce back from failure? So here they will ask you about your motivation. What has motivated you? What has made you to feel demotivated, and how you have bounced back? Okay. So these questions will also be asked, which are quite personal questions. Tell me about 5 recent acquisitions by the Indian Air Force in the year 2022. So here again, they will ask you about any current news that you have heard about Indian Air Force, and what are the different additions to the Air Force and all that. Okay, so make sure that you're also having a lot of information about the Indian Air Force particularly, if not for each and every defense armed forces, right? So I hope that this session has been quite informative. You have got an idea about the different tips, about how you can use them, and what are the different kinds of questions that can be asked of you. As I said, please prepare for these questions. Join our SSB interview online course, and also prepare in a first-hand manner from our top-notch tutors who will help you in a life-changing way to get recommended in your AFSB interviews. Now, if you have a lot of SSB interviews lined up for both direct as well as written entries throughout the year, what you can do is take a 1-year full access to our SSB interview online course. Here you'll get 1-year access to all the study materials, video lectures, practice sets, and also throughout the year you can join every month these batches of live classes and practice on a first-hand basis and clear all your doubts. This will be a golden opportunity for those who have lots of SSB interviews to perform and give their very best. Also, if you're interested to go for any other written defense exams, check out the range of courses that we have also provided through our app. Last but not the least is use the code WARRIOR10 to get an extra 10% off on any of the courses that you want to take. So as you know, the AFCAT 2 2022 exam is over. Very soon the result will also be declared for the exam, and then you will have a very less amount of time to prepare for your upcoming AFSB interviews. It is important that you are getting yourself enrolled into SSB interview course right now and starting your preparation as soon as possible. I repeat, from 6 September onwards, our live classes for the September batch of SSB will start. So make sure you are enrolling the course before that and joining with us for the live classes. So that was it from my side. I hope that the session was quite helpful and informative to you. I will see you next with something more interesting and informative for your upcoming written defense exams as well as for SSBs. Till then, stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams. Stay positive and motivated. Jai Hind.